And we'll move on to item 12, Dispatch Recruiting Incentive Program, presented by our Chief of Police, Rob Landon.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. I would like to point out that I think about 2 weeks ago that the governor signed a AB 1945, which was passed in the legislation and both houses basically, almost unanimously, if not unanimously. And what it did is it recognized public safety dispatchers as first responders. And why that's important to this is because dispatchers are finally being recognized for the importance that they truly have and add to this community and to the police department, the fire department, and EMD specifically. They're the first ones that take calls. When somebody's calling an emergency, they're the first voice that people hear, whether it's somebody that needs immediate life-saving intervention, they've been trained to do that, or whether it's the last call that somebody needs just to comfort them in a suicide or some type of incident like that. So they are been significantly undervalued, not by this department, not by this city, but I think it's important right now as we go in front of you with this dispatch recruiting incentive program that we do point out just how important they are for everybody. So what I have before you tonight is a dispatch recruiting incentive program. And it's basically to remain, or the purpose is to maintain the dispatch staffing level at the police department in a very competitive market by offering incentives to encourage highly qualified lateral dispatchers to apply within the Yuba City Police Department and also to retain the current ones that we have. Yuba City Police Department is staffed at 12 dispatchers. They answer all fire calls, they do all police calls, they do all dispatching of emergency medical type stuff, and they also do public works on the weekends. They're severely overtaxed. We have 2 of them at a time. When you have 12, that's okay. They can handle the load. They're handling over 100,000 calls a year. But right now, currently as we sit, we have 8 dispatchers. Part of the problem is that we've lost 3 dispatchers recently to other agencies. And the reason we're losing them is because people can drive to Rockland, people can drive to Roseville, and currently Yuba County and some other agencies are given some really good incentives to attract laterals. The benefit of a lateral dispatcher is the fact that they can be trained and put on the not on the road, but on a dispatch console. Within a couple of months, they're ready to roll. They can do all that. A brand new dispatcher that's never experienced this life before, it takes 2 months to go through a background, and on top of that, it takes 1 year to go from training from start to finish. And that's if they're an unproven performer at that point in time. That's to say if they made it all the way through there. That's 12 to 14 months. So during that time, they're not able to dispatch by themselves. So basically you're paying for a dispatcher to train them and them. And that's why the benefit of a lateral dispatch comes in hand. So what I'm presenting you tonight is an opportunity for us to create a lateral incentive pay for laterals, and then on top of that, the incentive for them to stay. Just for some background right now, base pay to base pay, I wish I would have printed this out, but I'm not good at PowerPoints. In this current area, who we're competing against is Chico, Sutter County, Yuba County, Woodland, Lincoln, Roseville, and Rockland. Now, I know we can't compete with them financially, one-on-one. That'd be impossible. But the reality is that somebody can live in Yuba City and drive to Rockland in 40 minutes. Somebody can drive to Sacramento in that same amount of time. So even though it's not the major factor, I think what we offer in Yuba City is a quality of life, the community. People are invested that are already here that want to keep their family here in this type of environment. But we do have to recognize also that Rockland, Roseville, and those other agencies are paying almost $20,000 a year more than our department. And we currently are the second lowest one next to, of all cities, Chico, in this area that we're competing with. So what we're proposing right now, the right page here, is first of all what we've done with officers. And what we've done with officers in the past is to offer 2 types of incentives: a referral incentive to people to get that officer that is qualified to test at that department and to get hired at the department. So we're offering that for a lateral dispatcher, and that's going to be what we're proposing is a $2,500 incentive. It's going to be pay in stages. So the city would compensate city employees who refer ultimately successful recruits for these positions with 2 payments. First payment of $1,250 would be made upon the city's hiring the lateral dispatcher, and that's contingent on them passing the medical, the background, the psychological. And then $1,250 would be made when the new employee successfully completes probation, which is a year. And there's certain people that are not qualified and certain people that are. I'm not going to get into all that. as far as who can refer people. Obviously, I can't, city council can't, there's a lot of people that can't. Hiring incentive of $10,000. This is the most important for one to attract dispatchers. So that would be paid also in 3 payments. The first payment of $2,500 would be made upon the successful hiring of the candidate. The second payment of $2,500 would be made upon successful completion of the training program. And the third and final payment of $5,000 would be made upon completion of the probationary period, which is 1 year. So that's how we would try to attract lateral dispatchers. Currently, we'd like to bring 2 of them over. That's our goal. And we think based on interest that we may have that opportunity should we present them with an incentive. The second one is a retention incentive pay. The City Police Officers Association and the First Level Group have agreed to side letters regarding retention incentives for current dispatch staff in an effort to keep vacancies from occurring in the dispatch unit. A retention incentive in the amount of $1,500 would be made to all dispatch personnel in a 2-payment method. Again, the side letter has been signed, and the first payment of $750 would be paid on the period including October 15th, 2020. And a second payment of $750 would be distributed on the pay period including December 15th, 2020. So basically, the fiscal impact of that, I didn't address where we lost the 3 dispatchers to. We lost 1 to Roseville, Rockland, and Yuba County Sheriff's Department. The fiscal impact based on this is, I don't think it's going to be a major impact because it's going to be recovered in salary savings. The proposed recruitment incentive will be funded from salary savings out of the police department budget from existing dispatcher vacancies. The maximum cost of the program is $38,500, which basically is 2 lateral dispatchers, referral and hiring incentives. That's $25,000. And then the retention incentive for 9 employees in the dispatch unit currently, if they all stayed, one is currently in the hiring process with somebody else, would be $13,500 for a total of $38,500. And again, by getting a dispatcher in there that's a lateral, get them on the road in 2 months, vice 12 months, you have 10 months of savings right away for each one that we hire. And that 10 months of savings equates out to about, I think it was $60-something thousand, just in the ballpark of $50,000 to $60,000 per year, which would more than cover this already. So the alternative is do not adopt the ordinance, provide staff with direction to amend the recommendation. And the recommendation is to adopt a resolution authorizing a dispatcher recruiting and retention incentive program and approving corresponding side letters with the Police Officers Association and the First Level Manager Group, which are addressed because the communications supervisor is part of that group and not the POA. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions from the council.
Questions from the council? Okay, just thank you, Chief, for the presentation. From one who spent 30 years on the other end of the radio from a dispatcher, who many times, countless times, assisted not only myself, but those that I work with and so serve the citizens. I think sometimes our dispatchers, to your point, are not viewed necessarily as emergency first responders, and they very much are. And it's good to see that legislation pass. And I think this particular item that you're bringing forward to us is vitally important to the safety of our citizens, which has constantly been one of the priorities of this council. Do we have any comments from the public on this item, please?
None online.
Okay. Any further questions?
Just a comment
Please.
through the Vice Mayor. Chief, just want to say thank you for your leadership in recognizing what the men and women in blue in Yuba City need and how we need to take care of them, because you know we have the utmost respect for all of you who serve this city. And glad to see that they have received the recognition of first responders. I know every time I've called over and been by there, they are professional. They have tenacity to work through anything, and I can't say thank you enough. And I fully support this recommendation you're bringing forward, because we do need to take care of our dispatch and our men and women in blue. So thank you.
Through the Vice Mayor.
Please.
I also support this 100%, also, Chief. And with that, I'd like to make a recommendation of adopting a resolution authorizing the dispatcher recruiting incentive program and approve corresponding side letters with the Police Officers Association and First Level Managers Group.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Cardoza and a second by Councilwoman Espandola. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chief.
Great job,
you,
Chief.
Council.
Thank
Please
you.
communicate to the dispatchers how much we do value their
Yes.
service.
Thank you,